On the first day, I transmigrated into a wealthy family as their live-in son-in-law. I was kneeling on a washboard, facing my ice queen wife and my sharp-tongued, cruel mother-in-law. The original owner of this body was a simp, but I am not. A ding sounded in my mind. Super Fun Seeker system has been activated. Host, please start making a scene immediately. The reward is a 5 yuan Lamborghini voucher. 5 yuan? Who are you looking down on? I snatched up the washboard and, at this banquet full of socialites, performed an impassioned drum solo for my mother-in-law. After all, even a fly is still meat. The entire hall fell silent. My mother-in-law fainted from rage, and my wife was dumbfounded. The system. Intense mental pollution detected. Points plus 10,000. From then on, the Wang family of the capital had a psycho, and that aloof wife of mine started looking at me in a way that was more and more off. The Wang family estate, capital city. A birthday banquet. I, Jiang Xiaoshui, the Wang family's live-in son-in-law, was kneeling on the cold floor in a humiliating posture. Beneath my knees was a durian shell with a washboard next to it. Take your pick. Before me, my mother-in-law, Lu Yun, sat in the main seat, her face a mask of cruelty. She had just splashed the tea I had carefully prepared all over my face. Jiang Xiaoshui, what do you think you are? Are you even worthy of serving me tea? This water is so hot. Are you trying to scald me to death so you can inherit our Wang family's fortune? The scalding tea trickled down my cheeks, leaving a fiery sting. All around were relatives of the Wang family. They looked at me like I was a tail-wagging, begging dog. Jeers rose and fell. Trash is trash. Can't even serve tea properly. Qingwan must have been blind. How could she marry such a creature into our family? My wife, the eldest daughter of the Wang family, Wang Qingwan, stood right beside me. She wore a high-end custom evening gown, beautiful and indifferent. She looked at me as if I were a stain that had nothing to do with her. Mom, don't get angry over someone like him. Her words weren't a defense, but a disassociation. I closed my eyes, receiving the residual memories of the body's original owner. For 3 years, this man named Jiang Xiaoshui had lived a life worse than a pig's or a dog's, all for the sake of a possibly non-existent gentle glance from Wang Qingwan. Unfortunately, he died without ever receiving one, and I am not him. Ding. Host's intense feelings of unwillingness have been detected. The Super Fun Seeker system has been activated. Beginner mission issued. Ruin this phony family banquet before you. Mission reward. God tier, vocal mimicry. I snapped my eyes open and smiled. Under everyone's gaze, not only did I not cry, but I burst into 3 loud laughs. Ha ha ha. The laughter was sharp, piercing the hypocritical peace of the banquet hall. Everyone was stunned. I slowly stood up, wiped the tea from my face, and stuck out my tongue to lick it. Then I looked straight at my mother-in-law, Lu Yun. Mom, the way you splash water is truly like moving clouds and flowing water. It has the same flair my grandma had back in the day when she'd dump pig slop into the trough. The entire hall instantly fell dead silent. You could hear a pin drop. Lu Yun's face turned from red to purple, her chest heaving violently. You beast! What did you say? Wang Qingwan's expression finally changed as well. She reprimanded sharply. Jiang Xiaoshui, shut up. Apologize to Mom. I paid her no mind. A caustic Annie jumped out, pointing at a cheap-looking gift box on the table. Jiang Xiaoshui, you ungrateful wretch. It's a matriarch's birthday today, and you give her this piece of junk? This fake jade Buddha you dug up from street stall couldn't have cost more than 20 yuan, right? You have the nerve to present it. I picked up the jade Buddha, my expression solemn. Auntie, this shows your ignorance. This is no ordinary jade Buddha. I spent the last 5 yuan I had on me to have it consecrated by an eminent monk at the ruined temple in the south of the city. I held the jade Buddha up, but my gaze was fixed squarely on my mother-in-law, Lu Yun. The eminent monk said that this item is specifically for suppressing evil spirits, especially effective against narrow-minded, caustic, and disrespectful old hags. I saw that your forehead was dark with bad omens, Mom, that you were shrouded in demonic energy. I specifically sought this out to suppress it for you. PFF. Lu Yun couldn't catch her breath, clutching her chest and coughing violently. Insolence. Utter insolence. Security. Throw him out. Several security guards immediately surrounded me. I held up my hands, feigning innocence. Fine, you can throw me out, but you have to settle my appearance fee first. I pulled a crumpled piece of paper from my pocket and unfolded it for everyone to see. On it was a crooked table drawn with a ballpoint pen. I, Jiang Xiaoshui, during my 3 years as the Wang family's live-in son-in-law, have been humiliated a total of 1,825 times, at an average of 100 yuan per incident for emotional distress. The total comes to 182,500 yuan. I've had hot water thrown on me 27 times. Counting this as a workplace injury at 5,000 yuan per incident, the total is 135,000 yuan. And there's the bed warming fee, the cooking fee, the fee for putting on a happy face. Round it down, just give me 500,000. The moment the money is in my account, I'll scram. Wang Qingwan trembled with rage, feeling she had never been so humiliated in her entire life. Jiang Xiaoshui, are you insane? She rushed over, trying to pull me away. With a twist of my waist and an extension of my arm, I swept her into a circle in a flamboyant tango step. Unsteady in her high heels, Wang Qingwan cried out, nearly stumbling. Paying her no mind, I leaped directly onto the mahogany dining table. As everyone stared in horror, I picked up a pair of chopsticks. Zong, zong, da, zong zong da. The chopsticks tapped against plates, bowls, and wine glasses, creating a clear, rhythmic sound. God-level vocal percussion, activate. I mimicked the sounds of electronic music, a bass, and a drum kit with my mouth, and the thrilling intro immediately set the room on fire. Then, clearing my throat, I turned to my mother-in-law and began to sing with deep emotion, in a tone of profound sorrow and piety. Namo Ratna Traya, a rendition of the great compassion mantra transformed, through my voice, into a death metal requiem for departed souls. The entire banquet hall became my personal concert. All the guests were petrified. My mother-in-law, Lu Yun, pointed a trembling finger at me, her lips quivering, her eyes wide as saucers. You. She stammered for what felt like an eternity, before her eyes rolled back, and she collapsed, fainting dead away. Mom! Wang Qingwan screamed. The old madam has fainted. The scene descended into utter chaos. But in my mind, the system's prompt sounded like a heavenly choir. Intense emotional fluctuation detected. Shock plus 1,000. Anger plus 5,000. Mental pollution plus 10,000. Congratulations, host. Your points are skyrocketing. I watched the chaos unfolding in the Wang household, looked at the mother-in-law who had fainted out of sheer anger, and the smile on my face grew wider. This was just the beginning. Wang Qingwan looked at me, and for the first time, a crack appeared on her icy facade. The servants hastily cleared away the wreckage of the family banquet. Wang Qingwan dragged me into the bedroom, slamming the door shut with a bang and locking it. The air was heavy with the oppressive silence before a storm. Her eyes, usually as tranquil as a deep well, now blazed with a furious fire. Jiang Xiaoshui, have you lost your mind today? I sat down at her vanity, picked up a bottle of Chanel No. 5, and sprayed it twice into the air. Smells nice. A little strong, though. Not as good as Florida water. Wang Qingwan took a deep breath, visibly trying to control herself. She pulled a file from her purse and slammed it onto the table in front of me. Divorce agreement. Sign it. There's 1,000,000 yuan here. Get out of my sight immediately. Her tone was dismissive, as if she were swatting away an annoying fly. I picked up the agreement and blew off some imaginary dust from its surface. With her arms crossed, Wang Qingwan watched me coolly, certain I would burst into tears and beg her to stay, just as I had always done. Instead, I simply pulled a mini calculator out of my pocket, the kind you see cashiers use. I set it on the table, and my fingers began to fly across the keys. Wang Qingwan frowned. What are you doing? The math, I said, not even looking up. 3 years of marriage. I cooked you 3 meals a day, plus a late-night snack, with a varied and nutritionally balanced menu every single day. Billed at the minimum hourly rate for a 3-star Michelin chef for 3 years. That comes to a modest 2 million. 3 years of bed warming. You never touched me once, but my bed was always warm, right? And I'm a clean person, aren't I? Based on the standard rate for a high-end escort, let's take half off. That's 1 million. And don't forget the 3 years of emotional abuse from your mother, the constant ridicule from your relatives, and your own persistent cold shoulder. I looked up, grinning at her. My dear wife, 1 million? Are you shooing away a beggar? You want a divorce? Fiend, add more money. Wang Qingwan was completely floored by my audacious antics. It was likely the first time she'd ever seen anyone be so meticulous in calculating the cost of a divorce. Jiang Xiaoshui. She laughed, exasperated. What do you take me for? I replied with the utmost sincerity. A long-term meal ticket and a walking ATM with poor emotional regulation. You, Wang Qingwan pointed at me, speechless with rage. Finally, she grabbed her purse and stormed out, slamming the door. Target Wang Qingwan's extreme emotional fluctuation detected. Reward: 1 X-Truth or Dare capsule. Item description: when used on a target, forces them to speak their innermost thoughts for 10 minutes. I played with the capsule that had appeared out of thin air in my hand, small and round like a jelly bean, and smiled like a villain. The next day, I put on the original owner's most expensive suit, which had been packed away, and, looking sharp, headed to Wang Qingwan's company. Wang Group, the top cosmetics empire in the capital. When the receptionist saw me, her eyes were full of contempt, but she still announced my arrival. I waited in the lobby, not for Wang Qingwan, but for a surprise. Zhao Zixuan, the eldest young master of the Zhao family in the capital, Wang Qingwan's most ardent pursuer. He was holding a large bouquet of blue enchantress roses, dressed in a suit and leather shoes, looking dapper. When he saw me, it was as if he had seen garbage, and he elegantly sauntered over. Well, if it isn't the Wang family's kept man? What? Here to ask Qingwan for pocket money again. His followers around him also burst into laughter. I didn't answer him, but my gaze suddenly shifted downwards, landing on his pants, and I let out an exaggerated gasp. Wow! My voice was neither loud nor soft, just enough for the entire lobby to hear. Everyone's eyes focused on him. Zhao Zixuan was taken aback. What are you screaming about? I pointed at his crotch, my face a mask of shock and admiration. Young Master Zhao, you are truly at the forefront of fashion. Today it's one thing that your fly is down. The key is this pair of pink strawberry underwear of yours is simply too tasteful. It's practically the standard for a real man. In reality, his zipper was perfectly fine. I just purely wanted to mess with his mind. What? Zhao Zixuan's face changed dramatically, and he subconsciously looked down at his pants. The movement was flustered and embarrassing. The surrounding employees at first held back their laughter, then let out suppressed snickers. A top young master from a wealthy family, under the watchful eyes of everyone, frantically checking his own crotch. The scene was too beautiful. Zhao Zixuan realized he had been tricked, and his handsome face instantly turned the color of pig liver. Jiang Xiaoshui, you're asking for it. He was about to rush over in a fit of anger and frustration. Now was the time. With a flick of my finger, the truth capsule flew silently into his open mouth and dissolved instantly. Zhao Zixuan's movements suddenly froze. His eyes became dazed, and then an urge to confess that he himself could not control surged up. In front of the entire company, he shouted in an excited and sincere tone. That's right, I just like pink. Actually, I'm getting close to Wang Qingwan to swallow up her family's assets. I also like to wear women's clothes. My closet is full of beautiful Lolita dresses. Last night, I was even dancing in front of the mirror in a sailor suit. The entire lobby of the Wang Group fell into a deathly silence. Zhao Zixuan, socially dead on the spot. Time seemed to stand still. In the lobby, everyone's eyes were wide, their mouths agape in an O shape, as if they could fit an egg inside. Zhao Zixuan himself covered his mouth, his eyes filled with horror and disbelief. He didn't understand why he had shouted out his deepest, darkest secrets in public. I couldn't help but be the first to start clapping. Young Master Zhao, a man of true character. I didn't expect you to have such a hobby, a cross-dressing big shot. How terrifying. Pick a day to do a live stream. Your brother will definitely be there to send you rockets. My applause broke the dead silence and also ignited the scene. Holy crap, is it real? Zhao Zishuan likes to wear women's clothes, and he wants to take over our company? This is big news. The employees began to whisper among themselves, their hands itching to pull out their phones. Zhao Zishuan's followers were all dumbfounded, wanting to go and pull him away, but not daring to. Just then, the elevator doors opened with a ding. Wang Qingwan, with her secretary, walked out in high heels, her presence commanding. She saw the center of the farce at a glance. Her face instantly became colder than the Siberian cold current. What's going on? When Zhao Zishuan saw Wang Qingwan, it was as if he had seen his savior, and also his executioner. He scrambled and crawled, dropping the bouquet of blue enchantress roses, and rushed out of the Wang group's gate in a sorry state. That retreating figure, as flustered as could be. Wang Qingwan's gaze finally landed on me. It was a complex look mixed with anger, doubt, and scrutiny. Jiang Xiaoshui, what did you do again? I spread my hands, looking innocent. I didn't do anything. I just complimented him on his tasteful underwear, and he opened up his heart on his own. Perhaps. This is the legendary, a gentleman will die for his confidant. Wang Qingwan's temples throbbed. She grabbed my wrist with a surprisingly strong grip. Come upstairs with me. To prevent me, this maniac, from running around the company again, she directly dragged me into the CEO's office. This was the first time I had set foot in this place in the 3 years we had been married. The decoration was in a cold black, white, and gray color scheme, just like her, without a trace of warmth. Jiang Xiaoshui, I'm warning you. Don't cause any more trouble for me. Otherwise, even if you get on your knees and beg me, I will make sure you leave with nothing. After leaving this harsh threat, she went to deal with the mess Zhao Zishuan had left behind. Before long, the company had to hold an emergency high-level meeting. The topic of discussion was the severe losses from the previous quarter and how to handle potential retaliation from the Zhao family. Probably to keep an eye on me, Wang Qingwan actually brought me into the conference room. Inside the room, the atmosphere was so heavy you could cut it with a knife. A dozen or so company executives sat upright and tense, sighing at the red numbers on the PowerPoint presentation. Wang Qingwan sat at the head of the table, her face as grim as still water, and I was placed in the farthest corner. I pulled a handful of sunflower seed from my pocket and started cracking them open with a kacha sound. The noise was exceptionally loud in the silent conference room. A balding vice president couldn't take it anymore and slammed his hand on the table. CEO Wang, this is a serious meeting. How can you let an irrelevant person cause a disturbance here? He glared at me. Please get out. I slowly spit out the seed shell and looked up at him. Mr. Vice President, seeing how fiery your temper is, could it be a kidney deficiency? Besides, what does your company's loss have to do with me eating sunflower seeds? In my opinion, it's just bad feng shui in here. I pointed my finger at that vice president. Take you, for example. Your glabella is dark, and there's a green aura above your head. It's obvious you went out for a foot massage last night and got caught by your wife, right? The vice president's face turned white in an instant. Fine beads of cold sweat immediately broke out on his forehead. I had hit the nail on the head. The expressions of everyone in the conference room turned strange, and they began to whisper among themselves. The direction of the meeting had gone completely off track. Cracking my seeds, I continued my outrageous speech. In your marketing plan, it's too old-fashioned. We sell high-end perfume, right? Why not do a collaboration? Let's team up with a classic time-honored brand of stinky tofu and launch a limited edition perfume called Smells Stinky, Sprays Fragrant. Focus on the contrast, the novelty. It's guaranteed to go viral. Shut up. Wang Qingwan finally lost her temper, her beautiful eyes almost shooting flames. Just then, the system notifications sound chimed. Ding! Phased mission wreak havoc in the conference room completed. Reward: immunity to all illnesses, pseudo, and a luck boost. With the mission complete, my interest instantly vanished. I slumped back into the chair, striking a classic "Guyu slouch," and ignored everyone's stares. The meeting ended on a sour note. Wang Qingwan was fuming and ready to settle the score with me. But just then, her secretary ran over in a panic. CEO Wang, bad news. The police are here. They said. They said Vice President Zhang is suspected of embezzlement and leaking company secrets, and they've taken him away. Wang Qingwan whipped her head around. That same vice president whose dark labella I had just predicted was really in trouble. She looked at the sloppy, undisciplined figure in the corner, and for the first time, a violent waver appeared in her eyes. A coincidence? Or did he really know something? How many other secrets was this man hiding from her? The capital's annual charity gala was a gathering of the city's elite. For the first time ever, Wang Qingwan brought me with her. Before we got in the car, she gave me a direct order in an extremely serious tone. Once we're there, you can only do 3 things. Eat, drink, and shut up. No talking, no wandering around, no looking at anyone. Do you understand? I nodded to show I'd received the message. She probably wanted me to be a background decoration and, conveniently, a shield to ward off annoying suitors. Unfortunately for her, she had miscalculated. The banquet hall was a scene of fragrant dresses, beautiful people, and clinking glasses. Every face represented power in some field within the capital. Wang Qingwan was quickly surrounded by a group of people and began exchanging business pleasantries. I, on the other hand, perfectly executed her command. I found the buffet area. King crab legs, Australian lobsters, caviar, foie gras, all piled up like mountains. I nodded in satisfaction. Then, under the astonished gazes of the surrounding guests, I pulled out a huge red, white, and blue woven plastic bag from inside my suit jacket, the kind that migrant workers use when they come to the city. I opened the bag and started frantically sweeping the goods into it. Hey, this lobster's not bad. Pack it up. This cake looks pretty good. Taking it too. Caviar? Good stuff. Can't let it go to waste. My movements were smooth and fluid, without a hint of embarrassment. The surrounding guests were dumbfounded. Isn't that the Wang family's live-in son-in-law? My God, what is he doing? Is he treating the charity gala like a wet market? This is so humiliating. How could Wang Qingwan bring someone like him here? Wang Qingwan noticed the strange looks around her, and as soon as she turned her head, she saw me stocking up. Her proud, icy face instantly drained of all color. She wished the ground would swallow her whole. She walked over quickly, lowered her voice, and squeezed a few words through her teeth. Jiang Xiaoshui, what are you doing? I took a king crab leg that I had just put in the bag back out and looked at her innocently. Eating. You said I could eat, but you didn't say I had to finish it all here. With so much good food, it would be a waste not to pack some to go. Isn't our fridge at home empty? Wang Qingwan clutched her forehead, feeling like she was about to suffocate. Just then, an inopportune voice rang out. Qingwan, why would you bring this kind of person to such an occasion? It's so degrading. Zhao Zishuan. That guy still had the nerve to show his face. He had apparently dealt with his last social death incident and was back to his old dapper self today. Behind him were a few other rich heirs who loved nothing more than a good show. Young Master Zhao, you don't get it. This is called being thrifty and managing the household. Exactly. To be a kept man so shamelessly is a skill in itself. Zhao Zishuan ignored my food packing and instead proposed. Tonight is a charity banquet. Why don't we each perform a talent for auction? All proceeds will be donated. How about it? This was clearly a trap set long ago, just waiting for me to walk into it. As soon as he finished speaking, Zhao Zishuan elegantly sat down at the piano. A rendition of Moonlight Sonata, flowing like water, drew a round of applause. The other rich heirs followed suit, showing off with the violin and singing opera. Finally, all eyes fell on me. It's the Wang family's live-in son-in-law's turn. Let's see what earth-shattering talent the man who captured President Wang's heart has. The jeers grew louder and louder. Wang Qingwan's face turned pale. She wanted to refuse for me, because she knew I had no talent whatsoever. But I wiped the grease from my mouth and set the woven bag aside. Talent. I'm good at that. I calmly walked onto the stage. Under everyone's curious gaze, I didn't walk towards any instrument. Instead, I pulled out something golden and shiny from my coat. A swona. Of all instruments, the swona is king. It either sends you to the heavens or to the wedding hall. Everyone was stunned when they saw the swona, thinking I was going to play Ode to the Phoenix or some funeral dirge to cause trouble. A smug sneer was already forming on Zhao Zishuan's lips. I put the swan to my lips and took a deep breath. Dee-dee-da-dee-da-dee. A piercing and festive melody instantly exploded throughout the banquet hall. It was Good Luck Comes, and it was a passionate rock version of Good Luck Comes. As I played, I tapped my foot to the beat, my body swaying with flamboyant energy. The elegant orchestra was completely thrown off by my swana, and the scene turned into a massive, tacky dance party. Zhao Zishuan's face turned green, and he wanted to come up and stop me. With a nimble move, I got right next to him and pointed the bell of the swan at his ear. Whoa! A high-pitched, piercing note that felt like it could shatter eardrums. Zhao Zishuan cried out in pain, clutching his ears as he crouched down. The world was instantly quiet. When the song ended, the entire hall was silent. I raised the swana and shouted with all my might. A rendition of Good Luck Comes to wish all the bosses here great fortunes and daily wealth. To wish all the beautiful ladies eternal youth and beauty. And most importantly, I wish you all early sons and a house full of descendants. If anyone has infertility problems, you can come to me. An ancestral secret remedy, guaranteed to cure the illness. Just as everyone thought this was another farce. In a corner, a very important-looking tycoon stood up excitedly. He pointed at me, his voice trembling. Master, a divine doctor. As I listened to your music just now, I felt a surge of heat in my dantian and my years of impo. Ah no, my years of a chronic ailment seemed to have improved. The hall was in an uproar. This was CEO Li, a real estate tycoon from the capital. Married for many years, he had been unable to have a child, which had become something of a joke in their circle. Now, the way he looked at me was as if he were looking at a living deity. I was stunned. Wang Qingwan was also stunned. I was just spouting nonsense. How could someone actually believe it? CEO Li, as if clutching at a lifeline, rushed onto the stage in 3 big strides and grabbed my hand. Master, you must help me. Money is not an issue. He was agitated, and his grip was surprisingly strong. He shook me so hard I felt dizzy. Wang Qingwan quickly came to her senses. Although her heart was filled with a sense of the absurd, a professional smile had already appeared on her face. Mr. Li, please don't get excited. My husband, he was just making a joke. It wasn't a joke, Mr. Li flatly denied. I know my own body. That surge of heat just now was definitely not a hallucination. The master must possess a unique skill. Wang Qingwan had no choice but to look at me for help. I cleared my throat, put on an air of profound mystery, and placed my hand on Mr. Li's wrist. I pondered for a long time, then began to spout utter nonsense with a straight face. Mr. Li, your problem isn't with your body, but with your wealth. Mr. Li was taken aback. With my wealth? That's right. I nodded. This is a classic case of being weighed down by too much money. Your financial energy is too strong, suppressing your vitality. To cure it, you must disperse your wealth. Mr. Li was even more confused. Disperse my wealth? How do I do that? My eyes darted, and I pointed at Wang Qingwan. The solution is far away, yet right in front of you. Doesn't the Wang Group have a new project recently? Just disperse your wealth to them, sign a big deal, and once your financial energy starts to flow, your problem will naturally be solved. Wang Qingwan stared at me in astonishment. The Wang Group did indeed have a new project, but it had been stalled due to funding issues. Without a moment's hesitation, Mr. Li said to his assistant on the spot, "Get in touch with Ms. Wang immediately. Our company will invest 10 million. No, 20 million. Sign the contract." Wang Qingwan was completely stunned. With just a few sentences, a problem that had plagued her company for months was solved. After signing the letter of intent, Mr. Li looked at me eagerly. "Master, I've signed a contract. What's next? What's next? How the hell should I know?" I could only bite the bullet and continue the act. I fumbled in my pocket and pulled something out. It was the stiffened legs and stare wide-eyed pill that the system had rewarded me with earlier, which I hadn't had a chance to eat yet. Item description: after consumption, one will uncontrollably dance square dancing for 1 hour. It has the miraculous effects of strengthening the body and expelling toxins. I handed this pill, which looked like a Malteser, to Mr. Li. This is my ancestral 9 Revolutions Great Restoration pill. Take it now, and you will see an immediate miraculous effect. Without a shred of doubt, Mr. Lee swallowed it in one gulp. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Mr. Lee's body suddenly began to tremble slightly. Then, under the dumbfounded gazes of everyone present, he placed his hands on his hips, bent his knees slightly, and began to sway his body to a mysterious rhythm. The boundless horizon is my love. Flowers are blooming at the foot of the rolling green hills. Although there was no music in the room, every one of Mr. Lee's movements was perfectly in time with the beat of the most dazzling ethnic style. He would expand his chest one moment and kick his leg the next, his dancing unrestrained, his expression one of pure ecstasy. The entire luxurious banquet hall instantly transformed into a corner of a park in the early morning. A real estate tycoon worth billions was publicly square dancing. This surreal scene once again shattered Wang Qingwan's worldview. An hour later, Mr. Lee stopped, drenched in sweat. He felt invigorated, as if he were 10 years younger. Incredible, absolutely incredible, he exclaimed. His faith in me was now absolute. On the way home, the atmosphere in the car was strange. Wang Qingwan kept staring at me without saying a word. As soon as we got home, she cornered me. High heels, long legs, and imposing aura. Jiang Xiaoshui, who on earth are you? Her voice trembled slightly. The meek, worthless you from before, was that all just an act? I looked at her face, so close to mine I could smell the faint scent of her perfume. I suddenly reached out, planting my hand on the wall behind her, turning the tables and wall slamming her. Her body stiffened, clearly not expecting this. I lowered my head, leaned in close to her ear, and said in a deeply magnetic and affectionate voice, "Honey, it's come to this, so I won't hide it from you anymore. Actually, I'm an alien from the M78 Nebula. My mission is to come to Earth and investigate the reproductive value of high-quality human females." Wang Qingwan's face flushed crimson, her heart skipping a beat. Just as she thought I was about to say something romantic, my tone shifted. After 3 years of investigation, I have reached a conclusion. Ms. Wang Qingwan, you have too bad a temper and are not broad-minded enough. You are unqualified. The investigation is over. That momentary blush and racing heart instantly turned into a volcanic eruption. Jiang Xiaoshui, you can go to hell. Wang Qingwan shrieked, pouncing at me with claws bared. I laughed and dodged, leading her on a chase around the living room. Just then, her phone began to ring frantically. She answered the call, and the anger on her face instantly froze, replaced by shock and panic. "What did you say?" "Grandpa, he's critically ill. In the hospital wing of the old Wang family residence. The atmosphere was as heavy as iron. The corridor was filled with direct descendants and collateral relatives of the Wang family. Wang Qingwan's father had passed away early, so the Wang family was now single-handedly controlled by the old master, Wang Zhan. With the old master's collapse, the great tree of the Wang family was on the verge of falling apart. When we arrived, a palace coup was in full swing in the hospital room. Wang Qingwan's eldest uncle, Wang Zhengwo, and second uncle, Wang Jianjun, surrounded the hospital bed with their lawyer. On the bed, old Master Wang was on a respirator, his eyes shut tight, unconscious. Wang Zhengwo gripped the old master's withered hand, trying to press his thumb onto a pre-prepared share transfer agreement. "Dad, you can go in peace. The company will be fine in our hands. Qingwan is a girl who will marry out sooner or later. How can the Wang family fortune fall into the hands of an outsider?" Wang Qingwan rushed in, her eyes red-rimmed. "Eldest uncle, second uncle, what are you doing? Grandpa is still alive." Wang Jianjun turned around, his face a mask of feigned grief. "Qingwan, my dear, we're only doing this for the good of the family. The doctor said, Dad, he won't make it through the night. A girl like you can't manage such a large enterprise. It's better to let your eldest uncle take over. You're just taking advantage of the situation." Wang Qingwan trembled with anger, but she was completely isolated. None of the surrounding relatives spoke up for her. Instead, they pointed fingers and whispered, "Exactly. A mere slip of a girl wants to hold power. If the old master hadn't protected her, she would have been kicked out of the Wang family long ago." Just when Wang Qingwan was at her most desperate, the The door to the room was thrown open with a bang. I strolled in, carrying a large megaphone. I flipped the switch and, in a rhythmic, chanting tone, yelled into the megaphone. Collecting. Scrap. Goods. Old appliances, old fridges, old TVs, old phones for collection. Old ideas, old mindsets, old relatives. Also for collection. Weighed by the pound. Fair prices. The entire room fell silent instantly. Everyone stared at me as if I were a madman. Wang Jiangwo's face turned green with rage. Jiang Xiaoshui, what is a good-for-nothing like you doing here, causing trouble? Get out. I raised a megaphone and aimed it at him. Well, if it is an eldest uncle, I heard you lost 30 million in Macau last month and knocked up your mistress. Does sister-in-law know about this? The color drained from Wang Jiangwo's face with a swoosh. I then turned the megaphone towards Wang Jianjun. Second uncle, the yacht you bought by embezzling company funds. I don't think you've reported that to the old master yet, have you? I've kept the receipts. Wang Jianjun shuddered. I activated my mass taunt skill, using the megaphone as my weapon. Third aunt, your son isn't your husband's biological child. Fourth Annie, that boy toy you're keeping on the side, mistook me for him last time. And you, yes, you. That time you stole the old master's antique vase. You were caught on camera. I turned every relative's dirty laundry into a catchy jingle and played on a loop through the megaphone. For a moment, the room descended into chaos. You're talking nonsense. I'll tear your mouth off. So it was you. How dare you cheat on me? The relatives started pointing fingers at each other and even came to blows. The scene spiraled out of control. Wang Qingwan stared, dumbfounded at the scene, forgetting to cry. A doctor hurried in, checked the old master's condition, and shook his head. Prepare for the funeral. The patient has no vital signs. It would take a miracle. Wang Jiangwo and Wang Jianjun broke into triumphant smiles. A miracle? I laughed. From my woven bag, I pulled something out. A piece of stinky tofu, wrapped in wax paper, its soul-crushing aroma detectable through all 3 layers. I had packed it to go from a dinner party, planning to have it as a late-night snack. I walked to the bedside and, under everyone's bewildered gazes, tore open the paper and placed the dark piece of stinky tofu right under the old master's nose. That intensely concentrated, complex odor, like a mixture of a public toilet and a sewer, instantly filled the air. The people around stumbled back, pinching their noses. Just then, the old master on the bed, who had just been pronounced dead by the doctor, gave a sudden twitch of his nose. Then his eyes flew open. He shot up from his deathbed and roared with a voice full of vigor. Who the FCK is cooking shit in my hospital room? The entire room froze, petrified. The old master had been woken up by the stink. The crisis was resolved in the most absurd way imaginable. The old master's eyes were bright as he looked at me, then at the stinky tofu in my hand, his gaze filled with profound interest. This grandson-in-law is something else. After being awakened by the stinky tofu, the old master's health began to miraculously improve. He probably found the hospital food bland and specifically requested me to stay and accompany him, to add some flavor to his meals. Wang Jiangwo and Wang Jianjun's scheme had failed. They were berated harshly by the old man and left in disgrace. Wang Qingwan looked at me, her gaze as complex as a tangled mess of yarn. This man, time and again, had resolved the most troublesome problems in the most absurd ways. In a hospital room, I had transformed the old man's private VIP room into a temporary internet cafe. Laptops, mechanical keyboards, gaming headsets, everything was there. I was teaching the old man how to play Honor of Kings. Grandpa, charge forward. Get him. Don't be a coward. Hey, right, that scantily clad fox spirit. Dodgy. Quick, shoot her with your heart. Stop chasing, stop chasing. There are 3 big guys in the bushes. It's a trap. The old man, Wang Zhan, once a formidable figure on the battlefield, was now wearing reading glasses, his eyes glued to the screen, having the time of his life. His spirits were higher than they had ever been before. When Wang Qingwan walked in carrying a thermal flask, this was the scene of grandfather-grandson harmony that greeted her. She felt a sense of helplessness, but deep in her eyes, there was a trace of warmth she hadn't even noticed herself. She walked over, just in time to see me holding the hand of a pretty young nurse. Miss, let me read your palm. I pointed at the young nurse's palm with the air of a fortune teller. Look at your lifeline. It twists and turns, and even forks at the end. What does that mean? It means you're missing me in your life. The young nurse giggled, her cheeks flushing red. Wang Xingwan's face turned cold at a visible rate. She slammed the thermal flask in her hand onto the bedside table with a bang. A few drops of soup splashed out. Jiang Xiaoshui, since you're so busy, I don't think you need to drink this soup. I'll take it out to feed the dogs. Her voice was laced with ice. I immediately let go of the nurse's hand, teleported in front of her, snatched the thermal flask, and hugged it tightly. Woof woof. I barked at her twice. Don't, wifey. I'll be the dog. I love the soup you make the most. Wang Qingwan couldn't hold it in and laughed. But she immediately straightened her face, resuming her Ice Queen CEO demeanor. In the future, you are not allowed to flirt with other women outside. Her tone carried a domineering and possessive quality she herself wasn't aware of. I moved closer to her, lowering my voice until it was almost a whisper in her ear. Wifey, why does the air smell so sour? It's like the aged vinegar from Shangxi has come to life. Her face instantly turned crimson, the blush spreading from her earlobes all the way down her neck. What nonsense are you spouting? She became angry out of embarrassment and reached out to push me, but there was no strength in her push. Looking at her indignant and flustered appearance, I found her exceptionally cute. This iceberg seemed to be starting to melt. Just then, a commotion erupted outside the room. That lingering ghost, Zhao Zishuan, was here again. This time, he had bribed one of the old man's attending physicians and, holding a piece of evidence, was preparing to launch another aggressive attack. He was certain that the street food I had been feeding the old man was definitely problematic. He was determined to make sure I couldn't escape this time. Zhao Zishuan, leading a group of reporters, rushed into the ward like a gust of wind. Following behind him was the doctor he had bribed. Everyone look, this is the evidence. Zhao Zishuan held up his phone to the cameras, displaying several photos. The photos showed the fried chicken, grilled skewers, and burgers I had bought from street stall. He accused me in front of the cameras with righteous indignation. A shocking scandal. A ruthless son-in-law of a wealthy family has been abusing a critically ill old man long-term, feeding him junk food fried in gutter oil. Old Master Wang's health had just started to improve, and he torments him like this. He's simply insane. The reporter's camera flashes flickered wildly, aimed at me and the old man in the bed. On the table, there were indeed a few fried chicken packaging boxes. Caught red-handed, Wang Qingwan's face turned pale. She wanted to explain, but found herself at a loss for words. Jiang Xiaoshui had indeed bought those things. Jiang Xiaoshui, what else do you have to say? Zhao Zishuan pointed at me smugly. Today, I will expose your true colors. However, I just calmly picked up a piece of what looked like fried chicken, faced the camera, and took a slow, deliberate bite. Crispy on the outside, tender on the inside, melts in your mouth. I faced the camera and gave a commercial smile. Folks, don't listen to his nonsense. What he has in his hands is ordinary fried chicken. But this, I said, is my latest exclusively developed product, the 9-cycle soul-returning spring chicken. It looks like fried chicken, but actually every single sliver of meat inside has been marinated in 81 types of precious medicinal herbs, including chongbai, mountain ginseng, Tianshan snow lotus, and Tibetan cordyceps. Eating it will prolong your life, strengthen your body, and cure all diseases. My bullshit stunned everyone present. Zhao Zishuan sneered. Keep making it up. Go on, keep making it up. Do you take everyone for a fool? He turned to the doctor. Dr. Liu, you tell everyone about the dangers of this junk food to the elderly. Dr. Liu cleared his throat, just about to speak. The old man on the hospital bed suddenly slapped the bedboard and sat up. He was full of vigor, his face glowing with health, not at all like a patient who had just returned from the brink of death. The old man began his performance with great cooperation. He got out of bed on the spot and performed a set of military-style boxing with powerful, gusting movements. His punches were fierce and his form was standard. That's right, it's this rejuvenation chicken. After finishing his boxing, The old man wasn't red-faced or out of breath. Ever since I ate this chicken my grandson-in-law so dutifully gave me, my back doesn't ache, my legs don't hurt, and I can climb 5 flights of stairs in one go, effortlessly. I feel 20 years younger. The reporters were dumbfounded. How did this old man look like he had been abused? Zhao Zishuan refused to believe it. He roared, "I don't believe it. This must be an act. I want it tested. Get it tested immediately." "Sure," I said with a shrug. Soon, the hospital's rapid test results were out. The report showed that my junk food not only contained no harmful substances, but was also rich in various trace elements beneficial to the human body and high concentrations of nutrients. Its nutritional value was 100 times higher than any health product on the market. The system product is guaranteed to be of the highest quality. The entire room was in an uproar. Zhao Zishuan's face was instantly slapped, red, and swollen. I walked up to him, patted his shoulder, and said earnestly, "Young Master Zhao, I know you are very concerned about my grandfather. This filial piety is commendable. How about this? You kowtow and recognize my grandfather as your godfather." My tone shifted, and I sighed. Unfortunately, my grandfather's family rules are very strict. He doesn't accept godsons with an IQ below 80. One of the reporters couldn't hold it in and laughed out loud. Zhao Zishuan had tried to steal a chicken only to lose the rice used to lure it. He was surrounded by reporters, questioning him about whether he was maliciously slandering and intentionally spreading rumors. I took this opportunity to speak eloquently to the cameras. "Friends from the media, since everyone is here, I have an announcement to make. Our Wong Group, in collaboration with myself, will be launching a brand new high-end medicinal cuisine brand called Master Jiang. The main product will be this rejuvenation chicken. Our goal is to leave no incurable disease in the world." Wang Qingwan stood to the side, looking at the man who was so confident and composed in front of the camera, turning black into white and casually laying out a grand blueprint for the company. Her heart, for some unknown reason, began to beat faster. This guy, when he's talking nonsense, he seems quite charming, and at the critical moment, he actually proved to be somewhat reliable. After the medicinal fried chicken incident, the way Wang Qingwan looked at me completely changed. The iceberg melted, and the spring warmth brought the flowers to bloom. She began to reflect on whether she had been too harsh on Jiang Xiaoshui in the past. Thus, this female CEO, who was decisive and ruthless in the business world, began to clumsily learn how to be a good wife. She secretly consulted her best friend and looked up countless tutorials online on how to make your husband fall in love with you. Then, she began her husband-chasing plan. That night, I returned to the bedroom after a shower. The moment I pushed the door open, I was startled by the scene before me. Wang Qingwan, the woman who usually wore immaculate business attire even at home, was actually wearing a black lace slip dress today. The lighting was dim, and the air was filled with an ambiguous fragrance. She was holding a basin of hot water, her face tinged with an unnatural blush and a stiff smile. "Oh, husband, you're back. You must be tired? Let me wash your feet." Her voice was trembling. I was scared out of my wits. In a single leap, I jumped onto the bedroom chandelier, hanging there like a monkey. "What the fuck? Wang Qingwan, are you possessed? Is there poison in this water? Or are you trying to be like Pan Jinglian, planning to scald me to death to inherit my ant credit pay?" Wang Qingwan stood there, stunned, holding the foot basin. The first step of her meticulously prepared, gentle offensive had failed. The veins on her forehead bulged, but she still forced a gentle smile. "What nonsense are you talking about? I'm just concerned about you." "Concerned about me?" I peeked down from the chandelier, my face full of vigilance. When things are this abnormal, there must be a demon at play. I pulled a yellow piece of paper from my pocket. It was a talisman I had drawn for fun. I leaped down from the chandelier with lightning speed and, with a slap, stuck the paper talisman onto Wang Qingwan's smooth forehead. "In the name of the Supreme Lord Laozi, as swift as the law commands, demon, reveal your true form." With the talisman stuck to her forehead, the string in Wang Qingwan's mind named Reason, with a snap, broke completely. "Jiang Xiaoshui!" A furious roar echoed throughout the entire villa. If I don't beat you to death today, my last name isn't Wong. She completely lost her composure, threw aside the foot-washing basin, and came roaring after me. In the bedroom, a great chase scene played out once again. We wrestled and rolled on the soft, large bed. An accident happened. My foot slipped, and she couldn't stop in time. We both fell onto the bed together. I was on the bottom, she was on top. Our eyes met, our breaths mingling. A romantic tension instantly began to ferment in the air. Her cheeks were flushed, her gaze hazy. She was no longer that high and mighty Ice Queen CEO, but an ordinary woman moved by emotion. My heart skipped a beat, too, just when the mood was perfect. Ding! Emergency mission issued. Destroy the romantic atmosphere before you. Mission reward. Invisibility cloak, trial version, X1. I wailed inwardly. System, you're so inhuman. But what could I do? The reward was too tempting. I looked deeply at Wang Qingwan before me, raised my hand, and gently stroked her cheek. She closed her eyes, her long eyelashes trembling slightly, waiting for the impending kiss. I leaned close to her ear and, in the most affectionate and gentle tone I could muster in my entire life, whispered, "Honey." Her voice carried a trace of a lazy, nasal hum. "Your nose hair is showing. The one on the left, it's pretty long." The air fell, deathly silent. Wang Qingwan's eyes flew open. In her gaze, there was no longer any affection, no shyness, only a thick, murderous intent. I felt that if looks could kill, I would have already been executed by 1,000 cuts. It's truly a miracle I've managed to stay alive by her side until now. But an even bigger surprise was yet to come. Just as I thought I'd be spending the night on the couch, Wang Qingwan's phone rang again. It was a multimedia message from an unknown number. In the photo, Wang Qingwan was tied to a chair, her mouth sealed with duct tape. The background was an abandoned factory. Wait, isn't Wang Qingwan right here in front of me? I took a closer look. The person in the photo was Wang Qingwan's mother, my mother-in-law, Lu Yun. That idiot Zhao Zishuan, he actually kidnapped the wrong person. The phone rang soon after. It was Zhao Zishuan's voice, made somewhat comical by a voice changer. "Jiang Xiaoshui, I have your wife. If you want her to live, bring the Wang family's equity transfer agreement to the abandoned steel mill in the west of the city alone. Don't call the police, or I'll kill the hostage immediately." I looked at the murderous Wang Qingwan beside me, then at the photo on my phone of my mother-in-law, Lu Yun, her face streaked with tears. I put the call on speaker. "Which wife?" Zhao Zishuan on the other end of the line was stunned for a moment. "Wang Qingwan, of course. Stop playing dumb with me." I sighed. "Oh, in that case, it's fine. Go ahead and kill the hostage." "What?" Zhao Zishuan's voice went up an octave. "You don't care if she lives or dies. My wife is right here next to me. We were just about to go to bed." I put my arm around Wang Qingwan's shoulders and gave her a loud smack of a kiss on the cheek. Wang Qingwan's body stiffened, but she didn't push me away. The other end of the line went silent. A few seconds later, Zhao Zishuan's infuriated roar came through the phone. "Jiang Xiaoshui, you dare to mess with me? I kidnapped your mother-in-law." "Oh, then that's even less of a problem." I cleaned out my ear. "You should have said so earlier. If you're kidnapping her, not only will I give you money, I'll even send you a silk banner to thank you." You animal. That's your mother-in-law. Well, you're the one who kidnapped her. Doesn't that make you an animal, too?" I hung up the phone, ignoring Zhao Zishuan's roars. Wang Qingwan's expression was complicated. Although she was also annoyed by her mom, she was still her biological mother, after all. "You're really not going to do anything." "Of course I am. How could I not?" I stood up. "How can I let someone else have all the fun?" I didn't call the police, nor did I bring anyone with me. Before leaving, I asked Wang Qingwan, "A question before I go. Do the kidnappers provide meals?" Wang Qingwan, "I don't know. That won't do. I'd better bring my own." I took 2 steamed buns from the refrigerator, stuffed them in my pocket, and went to the meeting alone. The abandoned steel mill. Zhao Zishuan, in his desperation, had found a few street thugs as helpers. Lu Yun was tied to a pillar, the rag in her mouth soaked with tears. Seeing me walk in alone, Zhao Zishuan revealed a hideous grin. "Jiang Xiaoshui, you really dare to come. He held a knife to Lu Yun's neck. Did you bring the agreement? I ignored him, instead scanning the surroundings, my eyes landing on the kidnappers holding steel pipes. I activated the new skill rewarded by the system, Pyramid Scheme Master. I cleared my throat, a pained and distressed expression appearing on my face. Brothers. My voice was sonorous and infectious. The kidnappers froze. Look at yourselves. Young and strong. Why are you in such a dead-end business? How much do you get for one kidnapping? 10,000? 20,000? Do you know how great the risks are? Once you're caught, it's 10 years to life, with the maximum penalty being death. Your lives will be completely ruined. The kidnappers looked at each other, the steel pipes in their hands unconsciously lowering. Zhao Zishuan grew anxious. Don't listen to his nonsense. After this job, I'll give each of you 1 million. I scoffed. 1 million? You think 1 million can buy your youth and freedom? Brothers, come work with me. I opened my arms, beginning my passionate brainwashing. Who am I? I'm the live-in son-in-law of the Wang family. But I have a dream. My dream is to lead a group of ambitious young men to create a business empire. As long as you're with me, I guarantee I'll pay for your social security and housing fund, a year-end double salary, overseas travel. I'll buy each of you a house within the second ring road in the capital. Why are you kidnapping people? Isn't it just for money? Your vision is too small. Work with me, and we'll go earn all the money in the world. When that time comes, you can kidnap whoever you want. Whichever celebrity you want to kidnap, you can kidnap. That'll be team building. The kidnappers were stunned, their eyes beginning to shine. One of them even took out a small notebook and a pen from his pocket and started taking notes. Zhao Zishuan was completely dumbfounded. This wasn't in the script. He roared, "What are you all standing there for? Get him! Chop him up for me!" However, not a single kidnapper moved. The kidnapper taking notes looked up and asked Zhao Zishuan seriously, "Big brother, I think what this Mr. Jiang says makes a lot of sense. I just want to ask, will you pay for our social security and housing fund?" Another kidnapper chimed in, "Yeah, is there a year-end bonus? Is there triple pay for overtime?" Zhao Zishuan was deserted by his followers. He looked at the group of kidnappers I had successfully turned, and his worldview collapsed. A few minutes later, the kidnappers, as a sign of their allegiance, presented Zhao Zishuan, who was tightly bound with a smelly sock stuffed in his mouth, respectfully before me. "Mr. Jiang, from now on, we're with you." I walked over and untied the ropes on my mother-in-law, Lu Yun. She looked at the absurd scene, wanting to cry and laugh at the same time, her expression contorted. I patted her on the shoulder. "Mom, you've been frightened." Then I turned and waved to my newly acquired underlings. "Let's go, brothers. Your boss is taking you out for a late-night snack to celebrate the founding of our team." Zhao Zishuan's foolish actions became the last straw that broke the Zhao family's back. The Wang family seized the opportunity, and under Wang Qingwan's swift and decisive operations, launched a full-scale commercial counterattack against the Zhao family. I, on the other hand, lay at home, occasionally activating the system's misfortune aura. As a result, the Zhao family's stock plummeted without warning for consecutive days. Partners terminated their contracts one after another, and the capital chain broke. In less than half a month, the once arrogant Zhao family of the capital declared bankruptcy. Zhao Zishuan was also sentenced to prison for multiple crimes, including kidnapping and commercial espionage. To celebrate this great victory, the Wang family held a grand celebration banquet. I, as the #1 hero of this incident, was seated at the main table. At the banquet, everyone looked at me with a mixture of awe, flattery, and obsequiousness. Relatives who had once mocked me now lined up to toast me. "Jiang Xiaoshui, third aunt was wrong in the past. Don't take it to heart. Good nephew-in-law, this is a small token from your second uncle. Please take care of us in the future." I accepted all comers, but my mind was not on them at all. I was concentrating on shelling a huge Boston lobster. My technique was skillful and meticulous. The banquet reached its climax. Wang Qingwan walked onto the stage and picked up the microphone. She was wearing a red evening gown today, bright and captivating, her presence commanding. "Everyone," her voice spread throughout the hall via the sound system. "Today, the Wang family was able to overcome the crisis and rise to a new level, and the biggest contributor is my husband, Jiang Xiaoshui. All eyes focused on me. I had just finished shelling a whole, complete piece of lobster meat and was about to stuff it into my mouth. To thank him for everything he has done for the Wong family, I have decided to unconditionally transfer 50% of the Wong Corporation shares under my name to Mr. Jiang Xiaoshui. As soon as the words fell, the entire audience was stunned. This was no small sum. It was practically half of the Wong family empire. Everyone looked at me with eyes full of envy, jealousy, and hatred. I, however, frowned and put down the piece of lobster meat. I stood up and picked up the microphone next to me. Don't. My voice was crisp and clear. Shares, and all they're too tiring. You have to attend meetings, read financial reports. It's a hassle. If you really want to thank me, you might as well just give me cash. I'm planning to take the money, travel the world, and continue being a carefree, fun seeker. Wang Qingwan's face instantly turned pale. She never expected that her grand gesture, a gamble of everything she had, would be met with rejection. She panicked. It was a kind of panic I had never seen on her face since I'd known her. She lifted the hem of her skirt and quickly walked down from the stage, stopping in front of me. Under everyone's gaze, she said in a tone that was almost pleading, "I won't let you go. You are my husband." I looked at her reddened eyes and gave a wicked smile. Well, C.O. Wong, weren't you the one crying and begging for a divorce before? You even offered me $1 million to get lost. Wang Qingwan's lips trembled. The next second, she did something that shocked everyone. She stood on her tiptoes, threw her arms around my neck, and kissed me fiercely. It was forceful, with a touch of undeniable dominance and the determination of an all-or-nothing bet. The entire hall erupted in thunderous cheers and applause. And in my mind, the system's voice chimed in at the perfect moment. Ding! The ultimate mission conquer the Ice Queen CEO is complete. Mission reward. 1 globally limited edition. Spend as you wish black card. No credit limit. Congratulations, host. You are about to reach the pinnacle of your life. A long while later, our lips parted. Wang Qingwan's face was so red it looked like it could bleed, yet she looked at me defiantly. I pushed her away slightly and wiped my mouth. Wait a minute. Was that kiss a one-time payment? Or is a monthly subscription available? If it's a monthly plan, there's an extra charge. 1 year later, in the upper-class circles of the capital, legends of the Wong family's live-in son-in-law still circulated. Some said he was a madman. Others said he was a genius. But everyone had reached a consensus. Never mess with him, because he could truly make you suffer social death in all sorts of unexpected ways. The CEO's office of the Wong Corporation, Wang Qingwan, 8 months pregnant, was presiding over a multinational video conference. The icy coldness on her face was long gone, replaced by a soft and blissful glow. And I was sitting on the small sofa next to her, concentrating on knitting a sweater, stitch by stitch, with great seriousness. This was the latest mission issued by the system. Knit a sweater with love for your soon-to-be-born baby. Reward: God-level encyclopedia of parenting. The foreign executives on the other side of the conference call had quite the expressions on their faces, seeing a man knitting a sweater sitting next to their decisive and authoritative partner, CEO Wang. But Wang Qingwan was already used to it. She would even glance at me occasionally and softly remind me, "Don't mess up the pattern." The meeting ended. Wang Qingwan suddenly clutched her belly and frowned. "Honey, I think it's time." The knitting needles in my hand clattered to the floor. The next second, I scooped up Wang Qingwan and rushed out like the wind. On the way to the hospital, I drove the ambulance like a Formula One race car, drifting, overtaking, running red lights all the way. The Wong family's convoy following behind couldn't even see my taillights. The ambulance driver and the doctor were dizzy and nauseous from the ride. Outside the delivery room, I paced back and forth anxiously. Relatives from both the Wong and Liu families had also arrived, each one more nervous than I was. To ease the tense atmosphere, I waved my hand grandly. "Everyone, don't panic. Follow me. Let's stretch our bodies and relax our minds." Then, in front of all the medical staff and patients' families, I led a group of tycoons whose combined wealth could buy half the capital in performing the 8th set of broadcast calisthenics right at the entrance of the delivery room. Stretching exercise 1, 2, 3, 4. Chest expansion 2, 2, 3, 4. The scene was, for a moment, quite magnificent. Several hours later, wah, the loud cry of a baby came from the delivery room. A nurse walked out holding 2 swaddle bundles, beaming with joy. Congratulations, Mr. Jiang, Ms. Wang. It's fraternal twins. Mother and children are safe and sound. I was so excited, I almost did a backflip on the spot. I looked at the 2 wrinkled little things, my heart melting into a puddle. The nurse asked with a smile, "Have you thought of their names yet?" I pondered for a moment and announced with a solemn expression, "I've decided. If it's a boy, he'll be called Jiang Daodu. If it's a girl, she'll be called Jiang Pengjian. Together, they are the future hope of the crosstalk world." In the delivery room, Wang Qingwan, who had just gone through childbirth and was extremely weak, slowly raised a hand and said with all her strength, "Someone, get me. Beat him to death." I smiled. I looked at my wife, my child, and the black card in my bank account that could never be maxed out. I thought to myself, "System, what's the next mission?" Ding. Newbie dad mission activated. Teach your child to say papa before mama. Mission reward: a lifetime, unlimited supply of the world's top brand of baby formula. The smile on my face grew even wider. This damned, fun-filled life, it seems, has only just begun.